Ahead of the 2024 Olympic Games, the team at BBC Sport has set off on a 500-mile cycle from Manchester to Paris. They're due to arrive in the French capital just in time for the opening ceremony next Friday. But they're currently in Berkshire, and we can go live to them now, where Sarah Dawkins has stopped for a break. Sarah.
Yes, a much-needed break. Day 5 of this cycle from Manchester to Paris. Like you said, more than 500 miles we've got to complete. We're just about halfway through, so we're getting there. The spirits are high, legs are starting to feel it. And our first stop this morning is at Caversham near Reading, at the home of British rowing. And we're spending time with athletes here, watching them train and have their final race practice on the water before they actually travel to Paris tomorrow on the train. And we're using this cycle to speak to those athletes in these final moments, but also talk about the key climate and sustainability issues around these games. And we've partnered with Sport England for this cycle, and Sport England chair Chris Boardman has been joining us, and he's going all the way with us, as is Dame Catherine Granger, who's joining us from today. Hello to you both.
I'm a half-timer, I'm a part-timer. I've only just joined in.
I've just come for the glory.
Look, when did the glory kick in?
Don't worry about that.
Look, Chris, we're halfway now. How has it been going so far?
I think it's great. I mean, obviously the purpose of this is both to highlight climate change and fantastic projects that are already doing something about it. In terms of weather, well, we've kind of done it all, really, haven't we? We've gone from torrential rain in the Peak District. We've had really high heat yesterday, above national averages. So we've done it all, and that's the point. But some of the things we've visited along the way have been incredible. And en route, of course, we've been using the National Cycling Network, those little blue signs that people go, oh yeah, I know what that is, 13,000 miles. And that's taken us on some great places, hasn't it? Tracks and paths that we've explored the country.
Catherine, you are joining from us today. You're coming all the way to Paris. Why did you want to get involved?
So I was always going to be in Paris during the Games. I'm wondering myself. And then, obviously, I know Chris very well. There's very rare opportunities you get to actually cycle to an Olympic Games. It's such an incredible opportunity. And like Chris said, there's so many amazing projects that we're kind of aware of, but we probably can't highlight and showcase enough. So we're meeting some fantastic athletes who are already speaking out on issues that are so important to them, but also some wonderful venues that really bring to life, just how amazing these places are and how we need to protect them and promote them and make sure that our waterways and our cycleways are as good as they can be for everyone.
As a former athlete yourself, you've been in this position before. You've been in these final days before an Olympic Games. How are these athletes going to be feeling?
It's funny, actually, as you said, this is the last time they'll be on this lake before they get out to the Olympic Games, and they'll have spent the last 3 years absolutely solid, putting in hours and hours and hours and hours of training here, and suddenly it comes to this is the last step. So it's a big moment for them. It's quite an emotional moment. They've got family and friends coming to support their last day training here. They'll be on the train, like you said, tomorrow morning on the Eurostar across to Paris, and then it feels very, very real. So there'll be a mixture of excitement, anticipation. A lot will just want to get on with it now. These you just want to get started. They're ready. So I think they'll do a brilliant job as well.
Waiting's the hardest bit, isn't it? It's just this bit now is actually really hard because your training's done. Yeah. And just waiting is the hardest thing to do for an athlete.
We're expecting it to be very hot in Paris when we get there. You two have obviously competed around the world in high temperatures. What is it like competing in high temperatures, and should we be worried that it's getting hotter?
It's hot. You've got to manage it. I mean, there's a lot of heat acclimatisation work that you can do, and athletes will do that, even going in heat chambers to acclimatise. Humidity is a real problem as well, and having a really low body fat, which I don't have anymore, makes a big difference as well. But there does come a point when you just can't. And so some sports, particularly cycling, are putting in a protocol for maximum heat, above which we just don't race. And we're going to see that kicking in more and more.
And also water pollution. We've been talking a little bit about that today. Was it ever an issue for you, Catherine, when you were an athlete? But it certainly is for these athletes today.
Yeah, I think it has changed dramatically in the last 10, 15 years. I think we're much more aware. I think the quality has got worse.
While you were sick?
Well, I generally don't think when I was an athlete it was something really talked about in the same way. And I think partly it's the awareness has grown enormously, but partly things have got a lot worse. And that's why, it's wonderful hearing athletes really passionate about it, because this is their livelihood. They love being on the lakes and the rivers, and they, travel around Europe and up and down the country here. And it's really important that it's clean and it's safe and it's something that everyone can feel part of. So, I think we're all trying to do our bit to make it better.
So lots to discuss on this cycle. Thank you very much for joining us, Chris and Catherine. Next stop, London. We've now got quite a few Olympic medals in this peloton. I'm just hoping my legs can keep up.
Sarah, I don't doubt that they can. She's not looking too sure, is she? She's rather her than me, I can tell you. Anyway, let's...